My name is John Hixson, as previously mentioned. I'm going to talk to you guys about FreeNAS development. So, a little bit about me here. I'm a BSD geek, and I do geeky BSD things. I work with IS systems, and we do geeky BSD things. I'm primarily responsible for maintaining the plugin system, the Active Directory, as well as other directory service systems and jails on FreeNAS. So if you use those, you can blame me for any problem you have, or if you happen to like those, you can blame me as well. Occasionally, I get a chance to work on other things. It's not often, but when I do, I do some work on PCBSD sometimes, and I also work on FreeBSD sometimes. Most of my spare time and my full-time job goes into FreeNAS. So, have any of you heard of IX systems or familiar with IX systems, besides the people I work with? So, IX systems, we're the corporate sponsors of PCBSD. We're the corporate sponsors of FreeNAS. We have several FreeBSD committers on staff, and even if we don't have them on staff, we often contract out to them and have them work for us. We sponsor several open source conferences every year, and we have a booth at most of those, and we contribute heavily to FreeBSD. We get a lot of code in, we have needs, we get a lot of developers, and we contract our work out to them, and they'll write us drivers, they'll make things work, they'll push out code that we have that we can't get into FreeBSD. So what I'm going to cover, I'm going to tell you what FreeNAS is. How many of you guys have heard of FreeNAS? I suppose that's why you're here. I'm going to show you how you add a new feature to the UI, and then I'm going to show you how you would add a new program to the system itself. It's not as simple as just adding a package or a PBI. And then I'll tell you how you can contribute. All right, so what is FreeNAS? Let's show you. This is FreeNAS. It's just a quick glance. If none of you guys have seen the UI, this is the UI. I'm not really going to cover it. I'm just giving you a glimpse here so you see what it looks like. Okay, so FreeNAS is a 100% free and open source network attached storage operating system. It's based on FreeBSD and ZFS. We provide all the major protocols that you would expect from a NAS. So CIFS for Windows, NFS for Unix, AFP for Apple, iSCSI for block services. However you want to access your data, we provide the means to do so. And today we have over 6 million downloads. So we're the most popular open source NAS on the internet. There are no others. So this is the 5,000 foot perspective of how you would view FreeNAS. So at the top level here, find my laser here. Up here, so this is our GUI, and the GUI runs off of Django, and so that would be this layer here. So Django provides our GUI, and that's where most of the programming is done. We use the Dojo toolkit for all the JavaScript, fancy widgets, and all that Ajax type stuff that you would expect from a modern UI. Nginx is our web server, and then we provide a REST API so that you can programmatically access our API and do everything that you would do from the UI, but from a program. So if you want to write, let's say an app for your phone or tablet, you can do it using our REST API. So all of this stuff here, it talks to our middleware layer here. And the middleware it's called the notifier. And pretty much all it does is it translates all the UI calls into a means of saving into our database. We use SQLite for the database, and so the middleware talks to the notifier then saves state and information into the database, which then in turn generates all of the config files that if you were setting up your own NAS, you would do by hand, like the Etsy exports, Samba conf, and all of that. So I just showed you FreeNAS, so I'll skip over that. So to add a feature to the UI, we're going to create a service here. There's lots of other things you can add, but in this example, I'm going to show you service. So on our services page, so I'll go back over here. Right over here, so we have all these services, so we're going to add a new service here. And then I'm going to show you how you create that service from a Django perspective. And how many of you are familiar with Django? Okay. So FreeNAS is primarily Django, and so in Django, you have to create a model form and a view. It's an MVC model toolkit. And then we're going to add the middleware methods that Django talks to. And then we'll add the shutdown and startup scripts for the new service. All services have shutdown and startup scripts that the middleware calls. And then the JavaScript that shows you how you toggle the service, and it will do the little slider trick that looks so pretty and shiny. All right. So Django uses the South database so that we can keep track of how so have any of you used South before? Okay, so the Django people know what South is. So South allows you to keep track of migrations, and it allows you to modify your database schema moving forwards and backwards. And so whenever you change the database schema, South will pick up that change, and it'll generate a script that adds a new table entry to the database, or it removes the entry to the database, depending on what you're doing. So we're going to add here, and this here is our migration script that South would generate, and we're adding a new service here. And so the forwards method here, so we're using the South ORM, and we create a new service entry here, and we save it. It's pretty straightforward if you know Django and South. But the idea is we add a new service entry. This is the forwards method, so as it's applying each migration, it adds this new service and saves it. Next, back here, this is where we're going to do the model form and view. So, Django, the first thing that you do with the Django app is you have to provide a model for it, and the model is the database abstraction. So, our new service here, this is the class that you create that abstracts the database table that it's going to create in the database. And then, so for every model that you create in a Django app, you also have to provide a form. And the form is the means that is displayed in the UI. So the database abstraction is the model. The form takes the database abstraction and it displays it in the UI. So you have to create a form to abstract the model to show in the UI. And so a lot of the forms in FreeNAS, they're some are more complicated, some are simple. This is a simple example, so this just inherits the model. But there's a lot of places where we'll override the model methods so that you can do things like clean the form data that's submitted, change it, add new fields, do password verification, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have the view, And here we're just taking a little chunk out of the view to show you this particular service. So here we have this core method, and all we're showing here is that we're rendering using a template, and we're passing the form that's created in the view into this render method that then renders the form using the services core template. And then the services toggle view method here, that takes, again, the form and it passes it to the JavaScript that toggles the view. Okay, so now we're going to show you the notifier method that you would add so that the middleware is aware of the new service. Most notifier methods, they look very similar to this. So the notifier will have start, stop, restart, and a starting method. So the start method will show you, or not, I'm sorry, it won't show you. So the start method will actually, this is what actually calls into the base system to start up the service. So in this simple example, we're just calling a startup script in RCD. So the start method calls the script, start it, the stop method calls the script to stop it, restart, restarts it. It's pretty straightforward here. And started is what verifies that it either succeeded or failed. Okay, and this is even more simple here, but this is our startup and shutdown script. So this says it worked. That's all it does. So this is a really simple example, and you'll see it when I show it here in a minute. And so we're not doing anything fancy here, but most startup scripts will look like a general. If you're familiar with FreeBSD, it will look like an RCD script that has a start, stop, status method, and it will tell the operating system, okay, I started, okay, I stopped, okay, here's the current status. Or an init script if you're more line-oriented. Okay, and then the JavaScript here, we're just, if it's on, it's off, if it's off, it's on, and then we pass it to the normal toggle service method that does the normal things that you do when you start and stop a method. But I overwrite it here for my new service. All right, so I'll show you guys an example. Or actually, I'll show you what we added here. So this is our service right here, and all of these, you slide it on, it turns on, you slide it off, it turns off. So we're gonna turn this on. So this is the new FreeNAS service here.
FreeNAS is magic.
And move them around, they talk to each other, they say things, you can just, so turn it off, they're gone, turn it on, they're there, turn it off. Nah, not yet. Alright, so.
Do they protect your data?
They wouldn't be in FreeNAS if they didn't protect your data. So, your data is safe with ponies. All right. So forget the ponies and all that. So you want to add software to the system. So the system that's straightforward is going into the operating system command line and typing package, add, or install, or going into ports, because FreeNAS blows away everything you would do when you reboot, because that's what we do. We control FreeNAS, the horizontal and the vertical. So I'm going to add a sound driver to the kernel config. And then I'm going to add an MP3 program to the NanoBSD config as well, because you need sound on your NAS. And then I'll show you a little bit on how you would build the image with the new configuration options. And then you have to upgrade your system. Okay, so in your Nano BSD, or actually this would be in the build system, so this would be in build nano_env, and this is where we add all of our drivers and some other build stuff. So it's simple here, we're just adding a driver, so we have this add nano modules function, and you have to tell it where the driver is, and so in the FreeBSD source code base, that's the path to the driver code, and so we're just adding that as a module. Otherwise, we can add it to the kernel config if you wanted to compile it, but this makes things more flexible. Okay, and the big config file for FreeNAS is nano BSD/OS base, and that's the heart of nano BSD and how you configure FreeNAS from this level. So we have about 200 something ports in FreeNAS, and so if you look at that file, you'll see about 200 add port statements with the relative path of the port, as well as all the methods that are defined in there to customize FreeNAS. So here we're adding MPEG-123, an old school MP3 player that works from the command line, because you don't want to add a GUI to place down. We want to do it from the command line here. All right, so back here, whoops. So to build a FreeNAS image, when you have the source code, I'm only showing this because this is kind of the first hurdle you'll run into. So you'll go into the source code repository, or the code that you just checked out, you'll type make, and it's going to fail immediately. So you have to tell it if this is internal and external. And all that says is, if you're internal, you're checking out the code from an internal ISMIR. If you're external, you're checking out the code from GitHub. And so most people want to check out from the GitHub, so they'll type make git external, and that'll set up the code to pull from GitHub. It's a little backwards, but that's how it is, and people need to be aware of that if you're wanting to compile FreeNAS. And that's why it shows this error here. So you set that up, and once you do that, then you can just type make and sit back for a couple of hours and enjoy the ride. All right, so once that's done, you'll upgrade the system. The build system will provide, you'll have several images. You'll have a CD image for installing or upgrading, and you'll also have an upgrade image. And most of the time, you're pretty safe grabbing the upgrade image and updating it through the UI. It's just a simple upload, and it'll do everything for you, reboot, and come back online, and you're good. If it's not, then open the button. So here, I will show you the next demonstration here. FreeNAS with audio. Oh, where did I put it here? Music? Okay. Oh, not in player. It's MPEG 1, 2, 3. Alright, so see, we have FreeNAS with audio now. This is playing directly from FreeNAS. So So if you want to debug your ponies, whether it's ponies in the UI or ponies music, there are several means of doing so. You can get most information that you need to know out of FreeNAS when you're having issues through logging. We already have a lot of messages that get printed out to varlog messages, and also, your typical old school methodology of throwing in printfs everywhere. That works wonderfully well for us, and we use it a lot. The Nginx logs, they're also surprisingly useful because this is a web application. So using the Nginx logs, even if it's not an error, you can still see the URLs that are passing through. And so if you're having problems, you can look and you can see, oh, that's not the correct path to the URL. Oh, that's not right. And so that's an immediate sign. And then the error log from Nginx tends to spit out, like if a Python, error occurs, it tends to provide a nice long backtrace, and that tends to show up in the Nginx error log. And that tends to be useful too, because it's not immediately available in the UI often. It'll just not work, and you sit there and you look, and you're like, what the heck's going on? But if you go look at the log, it's there. Oh, there's a Python stack trace. Why? Oh, there, that's why. And then the kicker here, or not the kicker, but a very useful log here that a lot of people don't know about is debug log. And so if you go into syslog conf, you uncomment the line with varlog debug log, and you get more logging and more debug information than you ever wanted to know. But it's very useful sometimes. It can take a little while to sift through it, but it does help. So it's a little bit of the last resort here. Django itself provides this debug option, so if you turn it on, it'll just bomb out in the UI immediately if there's an error. Whereas if you don't, again, you may not necessarily know what's causing the problem. You'll have to look through the logs and do more debugging. And then we also provide a tool called FreeNAS debug. Doesn't always help as far as the UI debugging goes, but if you're having system level problems, it provides all kinds of useful information for that. So like if you're trying to debug performance issues, EFS issues, Active Directory, LDAP, any number of issues, this just spits out all kinds of information. So it's a useful tool. And then JavaScript. You don't have to be a web developer, but JavaScript debuggers actually come in very useful, even if you don't know how to use it. Again, oftentimes in the UI, they'll be having problems, like something, you won't see something listed and nothing else is showing you why, and you just have no clue what's going on, and there's no errors in the UI. So you drop the JavaScript debugger, and then you can see that there were JavaScript exceptions thrown, and that isn't working right, and so you can go look at those files and see what's going on. And how do you get involved with FreeNAS? There's lots and lots of ways to get involved with FreeNAS. So FreeNAS needs people. We need people to use it. We need people to tell us that they're using it, et cetera, et cetera. We need help here. Patches are welcome, always. You can do a pull request on GitHub, and we'll, we think we need it, or maybe later on, we might need it. We can grant that to you. You can contribute documentation. You don't have to be a developer. You can be a user. You can be anybody, and contribute documentation, and that will help us out. We have lots and lots of good documentation. We have the best person to do that, in the world. But we can always use more. More never hurts. Filing bugs, that helps a lot too. I mean, if there's flaws in FreeNAS, if there's things you don't like, or if there's features that you want enabled, you can file a bug, and we take that seriously, and we look at it every day, and it helps us a lot. So file a bug. And you can document how you're using it. You can, if you're using it in your house or office for a multimedia server, as a file server in production for your company, however you're using it, if you, tell us how you're using it, that can help as well. And then translations, we have some, but more is helpful. So if you know other languages, you can help out with the translations. That's very useful. Okay, so where do you get the code? GitHub. GitHub is where you get the code, because we use Git. So how do you get the code? With Git. So clone the code as you would any other Git repo. Currently, our requirements to build FreeNAS are on FreeBSD or PCBSD 9.2. I know that's very specific, but we need to do a little bit of work to make that a little bit more flexible. But so right now, that's how you would build FreeNAS. And there is a README at the root of the source code that tells you exactly what you need to do. Here are some resources for any of you that are interested. It's our website there. Our documentation is on doc.freenas.org. We have forums. We have a very vibrant community that is on the forums and will help you or say other things. Our bug tracking system is at bugs.freenas.org. We have an email list as well. And we have a lot of people in IRC as well. So if you need help or want to know anything about FreeNAS, you can go to IRC and talk to the folks there. So summing things up here, FreeNAS is 100% open source. It's powerful, it's flexible, you can do anything you want with it, and if you can't, then hack it. That brings me to this. You can extend it to fit whatever needs that you require. The source code is available. And hopefully with seeing how you would add ponies to FreeNAS, you at least get a little bit of an idea of where you would go, how you would start development on FreeNAS. And you don't have to be technical, you don't have to be a hacker or a programmer or anything. You can still contribute to FreeNAS. Anybody can contribute to FreeNAS.